Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. And thank you for joining me for another office hours training. I am Crystal L. Gunn, your financial strategist, life insurance agent, small business advisor. October's Financial Planning Awareness Month. And this month, I have been talking about the essentials in building your financial plan. And so today is all about protecting your wealth. And so estate planning is essential for protecting the wealth you've built and ensuring that it is ensuring that you can safeguard your legacy, right, and avoid potential challenges. You want to make sure, because building wealth is half the battle, right? Protecting it is the other half and is equally as important. And so estate planning ensures that your assets are distributed according to your wishes, right? According to your wishes in an orderly and tax efficient manner. So let's explore how estate planning protects your wealth and secures your family's future. So first of all, what is estate planning? And it really just involves creating legal documents like wills, trusts, powers of attorney that determine how your assets will be managed and distributed after your death, right? And some of those things about what's happening in this life when we talk about those powers of attorney. So it's important. It's really, really important because it ensures your assets go to the right people, right? It's a good friend of mine coined it, no fuss at the funeral, right? Because how many times, and we've all experienced it, all have seen it. Someone in the family dies and people come out of the woodwork and they almost lose their mind because they think it's $2 that they're going to get or something, right? And so this just kind of takes all that fuss, no fuss at the funeral, right? It minimizes state taxes and legal fees. And some people are saying, Crystal, I don't even have any assets. Everyone has an estate, right? The average house has over 300,000 items in it. Technically, you're not supposed to remove any of those items after someone dies until there's been inventory. Doesn't go that way all of the time. So everybody has an estate, right? And we just think, okay, well, I don't have a whole lot. Just whatever happens after I die. Well, first of all, there's a problem with that because we're not passing down any type of wealth, right? We're not helping that next generation. We're not helping our children, right? The second thing with that is there is repercussions. There are things that are going to happen. Your estate will go to probate. And here's the thing, let's say you have anything, right? The state then gets to determine who gets what. And they're not concerned about who needs what more or any of that. It's the rules that are put in place for your state, and the judge is going to split the stuff up based off the rule, not with who needs what, not with what you may have thought. You may have one child who doesn't have a home, doesn't own a home, and you got another child who owns a home. You may want your house to go to the child that owns the home. But if you haven't put these things in place, the state gets to decide what happens and how it's distributed, right? And it's not always based on what you want. Plus, there's still fees and taxes that need to, that have to happen. So you don't want to leave that to the people that are left behind when you go home to glory. It also prevents family disputes or probate delays. Again, no fuss at the funeral and probate delays. I'm working with someone right now who they live in a house that was her granddad's. It's two family. Mom stays on one level, she stays, and her children stay on another. The house was her grandfather's. Her grandfather died years ago. It's never been to probate. They're not on the title. So watch how this works though. And somebody would say, well, there's still property taxes that need to be paid. The property taxes don't go away. But let's say there's some hardship and they can't pay property taxes and they need, a payment plan or whatever. Let's say they needed to pull some money out of that property for repairs. They don't legally own it. They can't do anything. It's never been to probate, right? Nothing was put in place ahead of time. And then after time, they still haven't gone to probate, right? So all of those reasons why it's really important. Some documents that you need to think about, and these are just basic documents that you need to think about when you're building your estate plan. That will, which outlines how your assets will be distributed, right? Again, if you die without one, that's called dying intestate. If you die without one, the state is going to just distribute your stuff based on those state regulations and rules on how they distribute an estate when you die intestate without a will, right? It's not the same for every state. That law is not the same. How they distribute it is not the same. But again, it's not going to be based off your wishes. It's just going to be straight to the point based off the law. There's no emotion in it. There's no thought about who might need what more. They're just going to divvy it up, right? Based on the laws of that state. A trust protects assets and provides more control over the diversification, right? Powers of attorney assigns someone to make financial or healthcare decisions if you are unable to do so, right? And when you're doing this, you really want to work with someone that can help you, that can ask you questions, especially if you've never done this before, right? There are templates out there that you can use and all of the things, but you really have to think about it. You really have to go through a process. I always say it's great when you're doing a will because you get to get rid of stuff in your house that you don't that should have been gone before, that you're like, why do I still have this in my house? Well, if you had to put that in your will because of those 300,000 items, right? That's crazy. So, but being able to work with somebody, and again, if not me, somebody to help you through this process, right? Again, you can go online, you can get templates. You can either click there's a link to Legal Shield in the description. They'll do your will and if you're a member, they'll do your will and your powers of attorneys for free. Right? You just have to provide them some information. And that's less than $30 a month. Everybody should have Legal Shield. That link is below. Or you can work with somebody locally. You can work with me to get it done. Whatever it is, but start to think about it and do it. And that winds up being the benefits of working with a professional. And as your estate grows, because somebody's like, Chris, I don't even have a whole bunch of stuff in my, I don't even have anything. But as it grows, you definitely then want to, as you're auditing and editing your estate plan, you want to look at working with a professional so that you can figure out how to reduce tax liabilities, potential disputes, transfer taxes, all of that type of stuff you want to make sure is in place, right? So protecting your wealth through estate planning is about ensuring that your legacy is preserved for future generations. And I always talk about think 10 generations after you, right? Think 10 generations after you. And so you can't wait until it's too late. So many people, you don't understand the amount of phone calls I get or the conversations that I have. Don't wait until it's too late. Start building your estate plan today to safeguard your family's future. Do me a favor. Think about your assets, your children, your extended family, and the next 10 generations. What plan do you currently have in place? What happens to any of the assets that you have? Who will get what according to your wishes? And when are you going to start working on your plan if you don't have one? We talk about that 2053 prediction of Blacks having zero wealth. Not having an estate plan is part of the thing that contributes to that. right? Getting your financial house in order is how we ensure that prediction doesn't become a reality. What's your plan, right? And estate planning plays a major part in that. 29 years, 29 years until it's 2053. So you can't wait until 2050, 2040, 2030, you know what I mean, 2025, right? To start working on your finances, this estate plan. Got to start today. Because when you start to think about how does waiting negatively impact you, your children, your family, and again, those next 10 generations, right? We always talk about breaking the generational curse. If the curse is going to start with you, then the new system of success has to start with you. We talk about passing down generational wealth, but how are you going to do that? Right? You got to get the tools in order to create those new systems of success in order to pass down that generational wealth. Okay. So, what's my favorite thing for today? You guessed it. It is an estate plan. it's pretty simple. Everyone needs one, right? It just really is that simple. And you won't do it overnight, but you won't do it if you don't start. So you got to start, right? And then what's those next things that you're going to do? Right? Pull out your life insurance wills and powers of attorney. If you pull out your life insurance, you want to look at one, go to the life insurance calculator to see if you even have enough life insurance, right? I was a presenter at a conference, the Women Ignited Summit, this past Saturday. And I took them through this exercise. And the very first question on the sheet was, or the instructions was to complete the insurance calculator to see how much insurance they needed versus how much they have. And then one woman raised her hand and she says, I don't even have any kids. And it still says I need $1 million in coverage. Right. And it was a shock to her. But the reason that it becomes a shock is because this hasn't been taught to us. It's because we don't know. And so things become a shock when you don't know. Right. So pull out your life insurance. First of all, see how much do you even have enough. Do the life insurance calculator. The link is in the description to see if you even have enough life insurance. If you don't, you want to schedule the link to do a free life insurance wills, powers of attorney consultation. Right. So pull out your life insurance. The second thing that you want to do when you're looking at that life insurance is you want to double check to see who your beneficiaries are. Right. I suggest too, they don't have to both be primary. You can have primary and a secondary beneficiary. And that secondary beneficiary would only get the proceeds if the primary cannot be found. The reason why I always want somebody to add somebody else. Let's just say you had one child, that child is over the age of 20, and you want them to be the primary beneficiary. Well, that's fine. But what happens if they cannot be found, or if they die before you and you haven't updated it, or if they die with you, right? So that secondary beneficiary winds up playing a vital role if any of those happen. And I know people say, oh my God, we don't want to think about it. That wouldn't happen. I had a client whose cousin, in that 30 age range, went on vacation. She died. She did have a life insurance policy through her job. Her mother was the beneficiary, was the only beneficiary. And her mother had died a year prior. So the time when the family needed the money, because they now had to do a funeral and all of this other stuff, they couldn't get at it because now that life insurance policy becomes part of the estate. And it still has to go through probate. And probate is not something that happens in 24 hours. Right? So pull out your life insurance, check that. And again, check to make sure you have enough. Pull out your will. If you have a will, go through it. If you did your will over a year ago, go through it, make sure, is there anything that you need to add? Is there anything that you need to change? Is there some people that you want to take out? Like all of that happens. Update your will and any power of attorneys, right? Whoever your agent, and then that secondary agent was, do you need to update them? Are they alive, did you do a power of attorney and they don't even know that they are the agent in your power of attorney? You want to make sure that you're having those conversations. If you don't have a will or power of attorney, then again, you need to get that done. You can schedule a consultation with me, or again, also you can get those done for free as a member through Legal Shield. That link is also in the description. Just make sure that you're getting it done, right? And that's part of number 2. You want to review and update those things accordingly. And 6 months to 12 months, you want to review these documents, right? Put it on your calendar. Just review it. Take, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, because things happen and things change. And we don't think about it when the thing happens or the thing changes. That young lady didn't think about when her mom died because she was grieving that, oh God, I need to update my beneficiaries on my power of attorney. She didn't think about that because she was grieving. So that's why you want to make sure that you're scheduling it and you're reviewing it. I say at least once, but twice a year would be really good, because when major life events happen, you don't necessarily think about it because you're caught into whatever that major life event is, right? And so if you don't have will, insurance, power of attorney, get it. Don't wait. Okay? Get it today. So, if this information has been helpful, subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please share this information with other people. I go really hard in the paint for this because we don't have it, right? We don't have it. So the information has been helpful. Subscribe to the channel, but share it with somebody else, because you just never know who needs this information, who's been looking, who didn't have the answer, who's been praying about it. Whatever it is, you don't know, just share the information, be a blessing to somebody else, right? If you need any strategy, it's tons of links in the description below. Go read, see what it is that you need, set up what you need, and let's get the things taken care of. Again, we have no time to wait, and we have no time to waste. Okay? So always remember to give yourself some grace. I say give yourself some grace for what happened in the past, what mistakes you made, what you didn't know, what you didn't do. Give yourself grace for that. Now, you just heard me talk about these things today. Tomorrow, you can't give yourself grace. Not for this. Because now you have the information. There's that saying that says, if you know better, you do better. Well, actually, it's if you know better, you have the choice to do better. Choose to do better. Choose to get the things in place. So keep striving. Do the things. Never give up on you. Always invest in you. I promise you, it is the best investment that you will ever make, and you will never, ever regret it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Crystal L. Gunn, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you on the other side.